So after Amanda Seales' very talked about interview with Shannon Sharpe on Club Shay Shay, she's now responding to critics that say you weren't officially clinically diagnosed with autism. Well, she has a response, and she also reveals how she felt after watching herself in the interview. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So as you know, we did a separate recap and live show talking about the Amanda Seales interview on Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharpe. A lot of you had your thoughts, you called in and shared your thoughts, and a lot of you have shared your thoughts in the comment section. Well, people are still talking about this interview. Some of you said you could not get through the 3 hours of listening to Amanda Seales speak. However, I did, and to be honest with you, it's worth listening to. She is quite engaging, no matter how you feel about her, and entertaining. She's also a comedian. But at the end, because there is this narrative that people just don't like Amanda Seales. Why do people not like Amanda Seales? I have to say, she has a moment of clarity at the end, and she talks about how she is surrounded with a lot of really beautiful, amazing people. So this narrative about, no one likes Amanda Seales really isn't true. And I said that during our live recap. I said, there are people that will like you, there are people that will love you, there are people that will hate you. But it's who you're surrounded around, the people that are actually in your life, the people that really matter. It's just that, the people that really matter. What people are saying on social media and what people are saying on the blogs, does it really matter? Well, not really, but here's the dangerous part of this narrative that no one likes Amanda Seales or Amanda Seales is hard to work with. It hurts her career. And this media push for this narrative to continue that Amanda Seales is difficult to work with or Amanda Seales, people don't like Amanda Seales is dangerous. And it's not just dangerous for her career, it's dangerous for other people that look like her. And when I say that, I mean Black people, Black women, because we have already talked about how that narrative, and if you personally have not worked with Amanda Seales, I cannot say, oh, she's difficult to work with. That is just a narrative that anyone can just sort of get on social media and spread, or anyone that understands the media, has influence in the media, can spread about a person. Well, you might say, Kemper, no, I'm basing this off what I see on social media and some of the things that she says. Yes, but that is a sprinkle of who someone really is. I know a lot of you think that you know some of these celebrities, some of these folks that you watch here on YouTube, but do you really know them? Do you know them in real life? No, because you just never know who is coming on social media and showing their real self. Look, as someone that has interviewed countless celebrities, I will tell you part of the reason why, and I just had this thought this week, part of the reason why I have stopped interviewing celebrities is because a lot of times you start meeting some of these folks and they're not who you think they really are. But one of the biggest contentions that people have been speculating this week was when Amanda Seales revealed that she has autism and that she's on the spectrum of autism. Well, that has led to a big debate because a lot of you during our live says, Kempire, she went on her Instagram live and said that she has never been clinically diagnosed. So a lot of you have been slamming her since that information. Well, Amanda is now speaking out. But before we get into that, I did want to play a quick clip of Amanda talking about her reaction to watching herself on the Club Shay Shay interview.
I did an interview on Club Shay Shay, and I don't know how I feel about it. I have a lot of feelings about it because I sat back and watched it, and as I was watching it, I can see why people don't like me, but I don't have any desire to change those things about me. But I could see it. Like, I'm just so deliberate when I speak. I'm so deliberate and I'm so unwavering. And I can see why folks would hear that and hear a sternness in it, like a rigidity in it that feels like someone being scolded. Okay. So like I talk like a cop, but I also talk like a teacher that wants you to learn. Like I talk like a parent, but then I also talk like a coach that really cares about you winning the game. And it ends up being perspective on how you receive that. And, you know, while I was watching it, I had to do my own work to not let the negative thoughts that are always kind of just fluttering around in my head, waiting to get, you know, caught onto. I had to really let that go and lean into the uniqueness of like what I just described, like the different perspectives.
Yeah.
Because I think if all of us step back and watch ourselves, we will have critiques about ourselves. It's fascinating though, because majority of the people who would ever critique me, like they've never been interviewed and had to watch themselves, right? Or they've never
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
They've never been in a situation where they had to be questioned and then now like go back. You know what I mean? Like oftentimes like people may be questioned even in an insular space, right? Like you're questioned by people that you know, but it's private. And I think that there's just such a different experience when it's happening public, and I'm fearless about it, but it doesn't change like my feelings about it. So it ends up feeling a bit conflicted, but nonetheless, I just want to thank anybody who felt like they got something positive out the interview and felt the need to share it with me.
Look, I mean, that's perspective. You guys will share your perspective on what you got from watching the interview. And I implore people, instead of watching 10 minutes of the interview, really watch the journey of the conversation. And yes, it is over 3 hours of your life. But if you're cleaning, doing your Saturday chores, it's something to listen to. And again, she is a comedian, so there are some funny moments throughout the interview. But I want to replay this moment from the interview where she talks about her autism diagnosis.
So let me ask you this. How old were you when you got diagnosed, and did you always feel that you was different and you felt something was wrong?
Well, what's today?
Today is Thursday, the 18th.
So 42 and however many days until I was just recently diagnosed.
Okay.
And this came out of this situation because so many Black women who are autistic said to me, I see you. You need to. And I've always thought, you can look at other interviews. I have mentioned before, like, I think I'm on the spectrum because I'm an 80s baby. This was not really a part of the narrative.
Right.
And as we started seeing more about autism and you start seeing shows about different characters and I start learning more like from people like Holly Robinson Pete, I'm like, this feels really like me.
A lot of you, when we were recapping this, pointed out that she went on Instagram Live and said that she wasn't officially diagnosed, okay? Before we play you that, she posted this on her socials in regards to the interview. She rehashed what the conversation was that we just played for you. And then Shannon says, but have you been clinically diagnosed? She says, yes, there's a clinical diagnosis for autism. He then hung his head and exhaled in frustration because I did not answer his question. That is called deflection. Why? Because I was not going to be pressured by this man who was interrogating me with absolutely zero love for me into proving something to him that by his line of questioning, he had already committed to undermining. Well, some people have said in some of the other stories that Amanda shared in this Club Shay Shay interview, like when she was talking about her experience in Florida, in the Florida schooling system, and her correcting her teacher, and he really tried to see the side of the teacher and not make it about race, even though she was the only Black girl in the class and she was excelling in every other way in school. She continues in the post and she says, I understand my response may be confusing to some, but I'm clarifying it as I did in my live, and that is enough. So she has been clarifying it because a lot of people continue to have the conversation about her autism diagnosis. So this is something that she posted on her social media.
They cut out at the end, he was asking, no, I have not been clinically diagnosed by a doctor because I'm not paying $10,000 to do that. And most people will tell you that at this age, you don't need a clinical diagnosis in that sense. And I think that's the other thing. It's like, we are so conditioned here in this nation to really only consider something in one kind of way. And I will get back to that.
First of all, I'm not an expert in the diagnosis of autism. A lot of people that have been doing this work for years aren't experts because it is one of the situations where it's hard to diagnose. There are a lot of people that have been misdiagnosed over the years. I will tell you guys that I did work with people with developmental disabilities for several years, right while I was in college and a few years after college before getting into corporate America. So I have a history of working with children and adults with autism. All right. But the spectrum is very interesting because there are people that you probably would never realize are on the spectrum. And a lot of people that have been working in this field for many years are learning things about the spectrum even today. So Amanda wanted to talk more about this in another post that she posted on social media. This is what she said.
So now the class act, baller alert, yet another black space, because there is such a dedicated effort to degrade me and defame me. It is beyond my scope of comprehension. Wants to suggest that because my autism diagnosis did not come from a clinician, that it is not valid. What's not valid is people speaking on things that they don't know about. And my autism diagnosis is not for you all to discuss. It's not up for your debate. And anyone who is speaking on or trying to invalidate diagnosis that comes outside of a clinician is only revealing that they actually don't know anything about autism diagnosis or autism. So I just want to once again thank you all for the love. And this is further proof of why we as Black people, particularly in Black media spaces, we are our own worst enemy. And I guess, again, it's just another day of being on the fringe and being in the margins. And anyone who comes in my comments to try to defame me and degrade me, you'll simply be blocked. I, again, will no longer argue what I know with what you think.
Well, it should also be noted, and we talked a little bit about this when we recapped this interview, is the fact that, as we've talked about Black people in the world of medicine and how women, we were just talking about this with Married to Medicine, how women are treated when they go in and they're pregnant, and how the disparity of the quality of care, especially if you're Black and if you're a Black woman, is just very different. And now the conversation about how Black people and Black women specifically go misdiagnosed in regards to autism as well. So this has a ripple effect within the medical community, especially, again, when we have this conversation about race and racism and how people don't realize how it is still affecting people every single day in different parts of everyone's life, okay? Not just in the corporate America, not just in society, in the medical world, when it comes to your health, when it comes to your mental health, when it comes to your physical health. Well, I also wanted to highlight something that Amanda highlighted in her Instagram story from another user who pointed out in defense of Amanda. And they wrote, "So true," in regards to the video that we just posted. "So true. And even though I was clinically diagnosed with ASD, autism, 2 years ago, self-diagnosis after much research and experience is very valid. I knew I was ASD, autism spectrum disorder, includes giftedness, autism, anxiety, OCD, and so much more. Way before my diagnosis, because psychology has always been a special interest of mine." So they continue. It says, "I was pre-med at the University of Florida on an academic scholarship. I left it all because I was at a frat party trying to pledge. Autistic Black women suffer countless traumas, misunderstandings, bullying, abuse, gaslight, exiled by their own community, and so much more. Black women especially, please, I implore you, read up on autism, not just for you, but your loved ones. You won't find much help in the MHS. So yes, self-diagnosis for your own advocacy is valid." Because here's the thing, Amanda might have the $10,000 to get diagnosed, but a lot of you that are watching this that might feel and can relate to her don't have those funds to to get diagnosed. So she says, so yes, self-diagnosis for your own advocacy is valid. I recommend reading or listening to the book Unmasking Autism by Dr. Devin Price. It really helped me after a late-stage diagnosis. First, you'll be relieved. Then you'll grieve the life that could have been. Then you'll be pissed off. So this leads me to wondering, because Amanda has had this self-diagnosis, I wonder what she's doing in regards to adding support to her life. I know she did talk about in the Club Shay Shay interview that she does go to therapy. Maybe that's one level of support. But it would be interesting. This conversation of self-diagnosis, this conversation of Black women and autism, I believe because she has become on this large platform like Club Shay Shay and spoke about it, it's probably going to help a lot of other people. Guys, as always, I want to know your reaction to Amanda Seales responding to everyone criticizing her for her autism self-diagnosis. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Thanks for watching.
You bring the lighter, I got the fuse.